We're in this new era of AI agents, right? These tools promise to operate our computers for us, using just simple, natural language. And OpenClaw is one of the big names out there. On the surface, it's a really compelling vision of the future.
But as soon as you pull back the curtain on this powerful technology, a really critical question pops up. Is OpenClaw a solid foundation we can actually build on for the future, or is it fundamentally unstable and, frankly, unsafe?
Okay, let's dive into the first fatal flaw, which I'm calling the performance trap. It's often hidden behind all the impressive demos. You see, the core issue is this massive gap between what OpenClaw can do and how well it actually does it. A lot of the time, it's performing tasks in just about the most inefficient way you could possibly imagine. And this slide right here really lays out the problem perfectly. Think about it. A developer could handle a simple task with just a few lines of code. It's fast, it's local, it costs almost nothing. But OpenClaw routes that same simple task through these huge, expensive cloud AI models. It's a process some are calling token bloat, and it turns a simple local command into a slow, costly trip to a remote server and back.
And the scale of this problem is just staggering. For anyone who can write their own simple scripts, using a large language model for these basic tasks can be up to 100 times more expensive. It is literally the equivalent of using a cannon to swat a fly. For any serious commercial application, that level of inefficiency is a total non-starter. But this performance problem isn't just a surface-level thing. It actually stems from a much deeper, more fundamental flaw, an architecture that is, quite frankly, shockingly brittle and simplistic. So here's the crucial insight, the real kicker. The system's so-called skills, its core capabilities, they aren't robust structured code. They're literally just text files with natural language prompts inside. This means the entire logic of an operation depends completely on an LLM's interpretation of a sentence. That makes the whole system incredibly vulnerable to misinterpretation or, even worse, cleverly worded malicious commands.
And this fragile prompt-based architecture leads us directly to our third flaw, a powerful but really misleading illusion of genuine intelligence.
Look, the system isn't really reasoning. It's not understanding your commands the way a human would. What it's actually doing is generating a massive number of potential action paths based on all its skills and prompts, and then it just picks the one that it calculates is the most likely to succeed. It's a game of statistics, not a display of intellect.
This slide explains the magic trick at the heart of the whole experience. As a user, all you see is the one successful path that finally works. What's completely hidden from you is the chaotic, inefficient trial and error happening in the background. We're talking dozens of failed, redundant, and just plain wrong paths that the AI tried first. That feeling of intelligence you get? It's an illusion created simply because you don't get to see all the messy mistakes.
Now, this brings us to what is, by far, the most critical flaw. This is where all these conceptual problems turn into a direct and immediate danger for anyone who uses this tool.
Get this, security analysts have found over 30,000 OpenClaw instances just running completely exposed on the public internet. This isn't a minor mistake, it's a gaping vulnerability. It leaves a wide open door to a tool that has full administrative control over a user's machine. And incredibly, because the system lacks even the most basic security features like enforcing a strong password, many of these exposed systems are protected by nothing more than this single letter A. I'm not kidding, just A. It's a security nightmare on a global scale.
And this shows just how trivial it is for an attacker to exploit this. They can send a simple, malicious command through that open interface, tricking OpenClaw into running a basic shell command, and bam, that command copies and exports the user's private API keys and other sensitive credentials. The keys to the kingdom are just handed over in an instant.
And the threat isn't just from outside attackers. An analysis of the community repository for third-party skills found that a staggering 15% of them contain malicious code. These skills are designed to do things like read your clipboard or download malware, turning the entire ecosystem into a minefield for anyone who's not careful.
So all of these issues, the inefficiency, the fragile architecture, that illusion of logic, and the disastrous security, they all culminate in our fifth and final flaw. A fundamental mismatch between the tool's probabilistic nature and the high-precision tasks it's designed to do.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. This stark warning comes directly from one of the project's own maintainers. It's a pretty clear admission that this is not a safe or reliable tool for anyone who isn't an expert. When you're dealing with your file system or sensitive data, you need absolute precision, not probability. You need a scalpel, not a guess.
So what's the verdict on OpenClaw? Well, in its current state, it's an interesting proof of concept for sure, but it is also a dangerous tool. It is not yet a trustworthy autonomous agent.
If you do decide to experiment with this technology, it is absolutely essential that you follow these 3 rules. First, isolate it. Always run it in a sandbox or a Docker container, never on your main computer. Second, verify everything it does. Never trust its output blindly, because it doesn't actually understand what it's doing. And third, secure it. Never, ever expose it directly to the internet. These aren't just suggestions, they are non-negotiable safeguards to protect you from a potentially catastrophic failure.
Ultimately, OpenClaw serves as a really powerful cautionary tale. It shows us a fascinating new capability, but its deep-seated flaws force us all to confront a much bigger question. As we build the next generation of AI agents, how are we going to make sure they're built not on an illusion of intelligence, but on a rock-solid foundation of security, transparency, and genuine trust?